Hey Tundra Nation, and now for something completely different. Welcome back to the channel, guys. As you can see, things a little bit different than our normal style of videos. And that's going to be for a good reason. We are going to try to get you guys some more content in addition to what we do on a weekly basis. Don't worry, this isn't going to replace it. We just wanted to see if we could satisfy some of our fans a little bit more often. That's what she said. And give you guys a bit of a different take on what we're all about. Maybe see what the non-scripted side of Tundra Tactical is all about. If you watch the live streams, which are every Saturday night at 9 p.m. Central, you will be very familiar with this because we're going to be pulling directly from that. But if you are not, first of all, I definitely tell you to tune in. It's a good time. But if you're not, yeah, this is going to be one of the things that we do on there, and it's my way of reaching out to our fans and trying to make sure that everyone has their little time in the sun. We do a segment on the live stream called Ask Tundra Nation, and this is how you know this is going to be unedited. Whiskey belch. I should say we're going to be doing this with minimal to no editing. One take all the way through, just having fun. Letting you guys see a little bit more of what the real me and real Hypo and real Eric and the rest of the crew, what we're all really like, as opposed to, once again, the scripted stuff. We do this segment called Ask Tundra Nation on the live stream in the second hour, and it's where you guys, the fans, get to post your questions on our Discord and get them answered live on the air. Boy, did we realize, or not realize, I should say, how popular it would become, and we can only get through like 5 or 6 questions a night, and we're sitting on about 170 of them, and we've been sitting on them for quite some time, so we want to provide the answers to those questions, which are usually quite entertaining, to you guys here in some of these short form style videos where we go over 5 to 6 questions, or maybe more, maybe less, depending on how long it takes. Just so you guys can see, once again, a little bit more about us. So let's dive right into it. First question is coming from Cannibalistic Provo. Outstanding name, sir. And they would like to know an 18 or 20-inch barrel for a DMR, AR-15 DMR. It's a lot like my question, or the answer to my questions that I normally give for these. It's really dependent on you. People smarter than me have told me, i.e. gunsmiths, that for a gas gun on an AR-15, 20 inches should be kind of your go-to target. And the simple explanation they gave me is 20-inch barrel gives the gas expansion enough time to push that round to its required, or maybe not maximum, but required velocity. Anything over that, you're losing efficiency when that gas cycles off into the DI system. That is all I know. I am not a professional. I play an idiot on the internet, and I am an idiot in real life. So I don't know the technicalities, the science, the specifics behind it, but what I do know is I trust these people, and they give me a lot of good information. They've never let me down so far. So I'm going to answer that question with 20 inches, not 10.5. That's another joke from the live stream. The Pookie Doodle, who I like to call the Dookie Poodle, would like to know, at Murphy, this is how you know it's going to be unedited. I was about to read moderator notes from the Discord. We're going to skip Pookie. Going down to Tiberius. Tiberius wants to know, what's your favorite bullshit conspiracy theory to explain the origin of COVID-19? My God. You guys are putting me on the spot hard for this one. I'm not one to hate on people's beliefs or theories or things like that, but man, there are some dumb ones out there. And I think the whole correlation, this might piss some of you off, the whole correlation between the 5G introduction and COVID-19, come on, guys. I mean, like seriously, there's no way. It's just not possible. I guess anything's possible. Well, maybe not anything's possible, but it's pretty darn unlikely. I've got a pretty reliable expert in my extended family who happens to be a respiratory doctor, a very well-respected respiratory doctor. No. That's what he's saying. He just goes, no. So that's what I'll say to you guys. No. It's just dumb. Please stop believing that, and please stop subscribing to these weird theories. And just be cool, be safe, and enjoy your time indoors like I'm doing. Who cares? Let's go on to the next one. We're going to power through some of these and then maybe spend a little bit more time on others. it just kind of depends. This is the first one of these that we're doing. They're bound to get better over time. Who knows? Maybe you hate them, maybe you love them. Let us know, and that'll kind of dictate and determine the content that we give to you guys. Next question comes from N7X Ranger, longtime supporter, moderator of the Tundra Discord. Super good guy. Big brain. He likes to tell you he's got a big brain, big old brains. He wants to know, I want to get training, but don't know how to find local trainers in the area that are qualified. Ooh, interesting that he says that are qualified. How can someone find trainers locally? And what are some red flags / green flags to look out for? This is seriously a good question. As some of you know, I am an NRA certified trainer. Yes, I'll say that again. Me, the idiot on the internet that never shows himself shooting guns, is an NRA certified trainer. So that should say something. I'm just kidding. I've been training for a while, or have been a trainer for a while. Love doing it. Not the world's best, not the worst. I'm sure there are better people out there. I'm sure there are worse people out there. But the whole red flag, green flag thing to look out for is something that not a lot of people consider when they first start getting into training, or maybe you just bought your first gun. We're releasing a video this week on that, or stuff to do before you buy your first gun. So maybe you're in that boat and you don't really know. Well, I would say that price is usually, so if provided you can find them, I'll cover that one next. Price is usually an indicator, especially in carry classes, whether your state's a concealed carry state, an open carry state, doesn't matter state. Those carry class prices are usually a good indicator. If they're significantly lower than the rest, chances are, at least in my experience, what's happening is that instructor is just trying to get as many people as possible into his garage to teach the most BS course, and then funnel people out. Regardless, in some cases, of state requirements. Maybe not even meeting those state requirements and just asking everyone to shh and let's not say anything. Price would be the number one thing I would look out for. Unfortunately, it's very difficult to audit instructors without taking their classes and investing time and money in those. But as time goes on, especially with the availability of social media, a lot of those kind of bad apple instructors do get outed pretty darn quickly in a lot of cases. Some will sneak under the radar for a long period of time, but a lot of them will get outed pretty quickly, and you will know. Do a little bit of research. Find a gun group in your local area, your town, your state, wherever, and engage with some of those people. Figure out who's kind of the authority, the knowledge on there, because a lot of them have like really genuinely good people. I know in Minnesota we have the Minnesota Gun Owners Caucus. I'll give them a quick plug. If you live in Minnesota and you need some advice, not just on firearms or the type of gun to buy, but specifically on training, these guys, man, they have the best people. They have the best people and a ton of knowledge. Guys like Connor on there, a good buddy of mine. They will not steer you wrong. They'll give you solid recommendations, especially on trainers and training, and point you in the right direction. So find the equivalent of that in your local area and reference your information from there, because that is probably where you're going to get the best, most accurate info. In terms of green flags, how do I know which is, what my instructor should be, or when I found the one, right? Honestly, same thing. Find out who's had positive experiences in the past. Look at people that you trust, look at opinions that you trust, and base your information off of that. It's not going to be 100% all the time. There are bad apples out there, and there are really good apples out there. I don't think that phrase has ever been used. But yeah, social media is your friend in this case, but take that with a grain of salt too, because the availability and the ease of information of social media also muddies the water a bit. So that's where it kind of pays to find that not important, but that kind of well-respected group. Do your research. Some groups go around claiming to be very well-respected or put on a very good show. Us, for example. Just kidding. But really don't know their asshole from the hole in the ground. We have an example of that here in Minnesota. But with, once again, a little bit of time, a little bit of effort, and a little bit of homework on your part, you will inevitably set yourself up for success. Next question. Tiberius is saying, seen as how the VP is such a VIP, shouldn't we be keeping PC on the QT, because if it leaks to the VC, he could end up an MIA and we'll all be put on KP. Yes. That's what I'm going with. Next question. Well done, Tiberius. Tiberius, the meme king of the Tundra Discord. Outstanding. Boogmaster Ranger wants to know why do acronyms suck? I think a perfect example of that, Boog, well-placed question, sir, is referencing our previous question. Next question comes from Trauma, and Trauma wants to know, are fanny pack holsters a good way to conceal carry? No, they are not, Trauma. I'm sure you're a good person, but please, please, please don't consider a fanny pack an option. I did for years, not a fanny pack, but like a sling bag. I did for years, and it's the whole idea of purse carry. Maybe not quite as specific, but the firearm is not easily accessible. I think it was Mr. Todd Fossey that gave the statistic, something to the tune of 70 to 80% of male-initiated self-defense engagements happen at contact distance, meaning a really close, within arm's reach, really close distance away. And you want that gun to be out and accessible pretty darn quickly. If you got to fumble through, open a zipper, rip, some Velcro, whatever it is, that extra step under stress, that's a lot of freaking work, man. And I wouldn't really recommend it. I just wouldn't recommend it. If it's your only option, sure, go nuts. But trust me, talk to our boys at Precision Holsters or any number of other holster companies out there. They'll get you something made for your gun if you're down to those dire straits. Not the band. Next question comes from Mario Mechanic Molina, and he would like to know, I've seen a lot of good shooters at the range with pistols. Do you guys think it really makes them good gunfighters? Apparently I can't read. Yeah, training with everything makes you a good gunfighter. But there's kind of a difference between a shooter and a gunfighter, I guess. A lot of us like to consider ourselves very, tactical or defensive minded. We look at the mechanics of the body. We look at how the body interfaces with the firearm. Look at all these buzzwords, right? Look at all these buzzwords. What's Tundra Tactical evolving into? Trust me, I'm never going to be Travis Haley or Graham Thumb, his son, or anything else like that. We're still going to be stupid idiots, but we're going to attempt some knowledge and insight here as I'm chooching away here on the old glass of whiskey. I would say training with any weapon system, any platform, any piece of equipment even, all the way down to your IFAK, when was the last time you, the person watching, trained with your tourniquet? When was the last time you went through your IFAK and made sure to prioritize the order of items in there? It doesn't just apply to weapons and weapon systems. It applies to everything. So, he says, I've seen a lot of good shooters at the range with pistols. Do you guys really think it makes them a good gunfighter? What makes you a good gunfighter? What makes you, a good kind of defensive-minded person is your ability to practice with all of your equipment, not just the cool stuff. Taking care to practice with the uncool stuff, or maybe the more difficult stuff. Stuff like your eyeballs, situational awareness, the interfacing between your eyeballs, your brain, your ears, the rest of your senses. Unfortunately, that's one of the bigger failure points that we see, to include a lot of us on the Tundra team. Like, I don't go out as much as I used to. I used to go out to the Mall of America because I live here in Minnesota, and we would just walk around. Me and a group of guys would walk around, and we would just develop these kind of pseudo scenarios, real bullshit, over the top, crazy scenarios, but it would challenge us to think in a very heightened state of mind, something that would push us to develop certain cues, social cues, physical cues. A great practice, a great thing for situational awareness, or just something to practice, like noticing things, is find a mall, walk around, and find the couple that are in a fight without saying anything. Like, they're not saying anything, but you can tell there's just some rift there, because you'll see a lot of happy couples, and then you'll see the couple that is definitely unhappy. And so I used to do that a ton, and unfortunately I don't do it as much as I should. I can't remember the last time I did it, honestly. And it's things like that, not just with pistols, not just with rifles, but taking all of those skills and meshing it up into one big bundle of stuff and practicing it often. That's what makes you a good... I hesitate to use the word gunfighter because there are very few of us out there who are probably acceptably able to be called gunfighters. But if you want to use that term, go ahead. Just good defensive-minded shooters is what I'd say. Those are the skills that I would personally recommend to practice. Next question. This comes from Jolin, and Jolin would like to know, can you please demonstrate improper gun safety with a loaded firearm? Man, Jolin is hating on me. No, I will not. Absolutely not do that. And thanks for the love. I am filing a restraining order on you, Jolin. I'm just kidding. I love you, bud. All right, let's move on down. We're chooching through these questions here, so maybe we'll go through more than what I was expecting. I was only expecting to do 5, and I think we've done like 6 or 7 now, so I'm having fun with this. Let's keep it rolling. All right, Tiberius wants to know, can you explain to Trauma that fanny packs and zap carry are 2 very different things? If you're a fan of the channel, specifically the live stream, you will know what zap carry is. If you don't know what zap carry is, Google it, but just be prepared. That's all I'm going to say. Might see a butthole or 2. All right, Canadian Defector. Canadian Defector wants to know, how much Loctite does it take to kill a Glock? Enough. And probably more than you have. There you go. Darth Uzix, if I'm saying it right. He wants to say, have you tried Larceny, a bourbon? As you guys well know, I am a big fan of my alcoholic beverages on this channel. The immature adult in me loves to make an idiot of myself every Saturday night and every Tuesday for you guys. And usually I do that while somewhat intoxicated. Case in point, keeping with the tradition here. Normally my drink of choice, which I get asked a lot, is, if I've got the cash for it, is scotch. I drink a nice single malt 12-year-old scotch as kind of my baseline, my go-to. But when I'm feeling a little bit more budget conscious, I am going to dive into just something more basic like a Jameson or 2 gingers or a blended scotch, maybe like a Dewar's. And I enjoy it. I must say, I have not tried this brand. This, what is it, Larceny? Because I don't drink a lot of bourbon. I don't have anything against bourbon. Definitely like it. But I have not tried that brand. You will have to, you'll have to send me some, bud, and I'll give it a shot because I've never seen it around here. So I don't know if I can get it. But if I'm out and I see it, I'm going to pick it up on your recommendation and join up in the live streams, man. And when I see you there, ask that same question. I'll give you another answer. Cheers. Canadian Defector comes back. By the way, I should also say that in this process, like I said, as time goes on, hopefully you guys enjoy these and watch these and like them. I will say the questions do not have to be firearms related. Sometimes they are, sometimes they aren't. Kind of the bit for ATN, or Ask Tundra Nation, the bit for ATN is I don't proofread any of these questions, and I just kind of answer them as best I can. So you guys can really see just how much of an idiot I really am. I'm very blessed to have a lot of people on the team that know a lot more about guns and equipment than I do, and they just make it seem like I know this. So this is the real me. You guys get to see just how long you've been, however long you've been following Tundra Tactical, is how long you've been following somebody who has just been bullshitting you this entire time. Hey, cheers. All right, so the next one comes from Canadian Defector. Non-gun related question. He would like to know, tendies or nuggies? Tendies, man. Come on, chicken tenders. The best. You can find a lot. Don't get me wrong. Chicken nuggies, solid. Absolutely solid. But when you go outside of the fast food realm, which is where, in my opinion, they're the best, the nuggies at least, you will start to find that a lot of the store-bought stuff is just crap. However, there are a lot of good tendies out there. There are a lot of really, really good tendies. I don't have the specific brand because it's sitting in the fridge far away from the camera here, and I am recording. But something that we bought at Target, man, you toss those into the oven. By the way, oven only, never microwave. I know it's faster. I know it's convenient. Take the time, oven bake those tendies. You'll be happier. I'll always say tendies on that question. Jayhawk, Mr. Krabs wants to know, this is an interesting one. How do you get lead exposure from shooting? Have you ever hunted? He wants to know. So 2 questions there. How do you get lead exposure from shooting? Well, I guess this kind of depends. Well, not depends. There are very obvious ways of getting lead exposure, and it's a great question to ask, and it's a serious concern that a lot of people really don't take seriously. A lot of shooters, a lot of very good shooters, a lot of professionals don't take this as seriously as they should. For those who don't know, I've worked in the industry for some time now, and a vast majority of that time has been inside of gun shops. Most of those gun shops that I've worked at, save for the one I'm at presently is the word I'm looking for, they have all had gun ranges. And chances are I've been either the range master or an RSO or something to the effect of where I'm on the range constantly. So, how do you get lead exposure from shooting? At an indoor range, let's look at, some maybe more common examples. Think of a gun range in your head. A lot of gun ranges out there, they've got that look, right? They've got that feel, that kind of like basement-y style thing, where, it's not the nicest place to exist, but it serves the purpose. It gets the job done, right? So you're there, you're having fun, you're doing your thing. But have you ever considered things like ventilation, the HVAC system, which way the direction of the air is going? A lot of states and cities nowadays have cracked down on this, and they require a very advanced HVAC or very advanced air cycling system with very, very powerful, advanced, and expensive filters to filter out all of the poisonous materials, i.e. mostly lead, but other things as well. So, by name, I'll say a great example of a good way of doing this is the gun shop I used to work at, a gun shop called Stock and Barrel out in Chanhassen. They have a store or a shop down in Egan as well. They spent a metric ton of money on their HVAC system, and it cycles the entirety of the volume of air inside the range once completely every 90 seconds. So the air is always moving away from you. The lead, the poisons, the toxins are always moving downrange, getting sucked up, filtered out, and then that air, a portion of it is being recycled, and a portion of it is new fresh air coming in from outside. So that is a good way to answer this question for specific individuals. Shooting at maybe some of the older ranges or the less regulated, in the less regulated counties, states, cities, is if you have poor ventilation, if you start seeing smoke, like it becomes hazy and smoky, chances are there are lead particles floating around in there somewhere. It might smell nice, but it probably doesn't do a whole lot of good for your health. And please, for the love of God, if you're taking your kids shooting, take them shooting at a well-respected, good, well-ventilated range, because obviously kids are a little bit more susceptible to lead poisoning than adults are, or they're maybe more quickly affected by it. I'm not a medical expert here. But from my understanding, and one of my major concerns when my wife was pregnant with our baby girl, was me bringing that home. I was at a very severe risk and probably had extremely high levels of lead in my body because I work at a gun range. Not only did I work at the gun range, but we had to clean up the downrange portion of that every single night. A lot of people that go to ranges don't understand that those ranges get cleaned, swept, and vacuumed with a HEPA vac every single night in a lot of cases to keep those places clean for the customers. So I was in full hazmat, man. I had a Tyvek suit on, full hood, I've got the respirator. I should have brought this out, darn it. Full HEPA respirator, the whole thing. And I have a beard. So, lead particles, I'm sure, got trapped up in there. They made it into my body and wasn't terribly healthy. Fortunately, I haven't worked at a gun range, a range specifically, for quite some time. So I think that they hopefully have returned back to normal levels. But it's things like that, picking up a bullet, even if it's just a straight lead bullet with no jacket, it's not really going to do a whole lot of damage to you. Unless you're like keeping it in your hand like constantly all day long, you'll absorb some particles, I think, through the skin. Once again, I'm not a medical expert, but that's how I understand it to work. But yeah, I think a good majority of the risk of lead accumulating in your body comes from indoor ranges. Now, if you're safe, if you're, responsible, even if you're going to a range every day, your chances are you're not at a super high risk as long as you're washing your hands. By the way, wash your hands with cold water and soap after you go to the range, because cold water will keep your pores closed or smaller, so there's less of a chance to absorb through the skin. And just, practice good hygiene, really. Take a shower when you get home from the range, especially if you have kids. Once again, you spend 6-7 hours working at a gun range, and then you come home and you pick your 2-year-old daughter up and you're hugging her in your work uniform and everything. Guess what? That's got lead all over it that you can't see. Don't do that. Be smart. Be smart. Do I hunt? I do not, believe it or not. Much like a lot of you guys, I grew up hunting and had a great time doing it. It was fantastic. But I have this thing called ADD or ADHD. A very severe case of it, if you can't tell. Don't do well sitting in areas trying to be still and quiet for a long period of time. Love the outdoors, but I love moving around. I love shooting. I don't like hunting necessarily. Don't have anything against it, but I like shooting. I like running and gunning. I like being up and active and doing stuff that keeps my blood flowing. And while hunting definitely has the adrenaline rush portion of it, it's too few and far between for me to keep me sane. So there's no form of like catharsis for me with it. But I love the people who do it. Ton of great hunters that I know, ton of fuds that I know too. But hey, can't win them all. So yeah, I do not hunt, but I enjoy the hunting culture. I enjoy the outdoors culture, and that is definitely part of it. So I think that is a great place to end the show for today. Tell me what you thought in the comment section down below. What did you guys think of this kind of Q&A style question answer, which is Q&A? I'm dumb. What do you guys think of this Q&A style thing, this unscripted bit? Is it completely ridiculous and should I never touch it again? Or are you guys going to enjoy this content just because you're getting a little bit more unfiltered Tundra? I'm sitting here, I'm drinking, we're chooching, we're having fun, we're talking questions with the fans. I'm very genuinely interested to know. If you've made it this far in the video, thank you for watching. Thank you for supporting the channel. We love you guys. And we'll encourage you guys, if you're not already, follow the link in the description below or somewhere here on the channel. There'll be a link to our Discord chat, and that is where you will post your questions to be answered in this format. All of our fans on Discord, they're fantastic. They'll take good care of you, even if you're not terribly familiar with how this whole Discord thing works. Doesn't matter. Jump on. We'll take good care of you guys. Thanks for watching. Do the bit that I normally do at the end of the videos. What is it? That about wraps up our first short form-ish video on Ask Tundra Nation. If you guys like the video, make sure to smash that thumbs up button, share it around with your friends, blah, 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 like, subscribe, do the whole buy our shit on Teespring. Most importantly, guys, be safe, be cool, and I can't wait to see you in the next one. Cheers.